So as we're wrapping up this section unit on paychecks and taxes and all that other stuff, there's this thing that is called a statement of earnings. Now, normally it won't be in a full sheet like this. It's going to be that little thing like you saw when I put my pay stub up there before, little tiny on there, but you individually get to see where all your money happens to be going as it fires away and disappears from your bank account. Not literally. So what we're going to do here momentarily is on the back of this sheet, there is different statements of earnings based on different employee information. So I'm going to get you started on a couple of things, but I'm not going to do the entire thing. So you can roll with the person that I roll with, or you can do a different one. It doesn't matter. So basically, we're going to do a little flipping back and forth. In retrospect, I wish I'd have made it a different page. Let's see. Oh my, Daniel Schertzer. Okay. Actually, let's do that. Let's roll with Daniel here. So here is Daniel's info. And just to save us a little bit of time and people not having to fly back and forth between things, you're like, Hardy, you are not bringing out your weapon of mass distraction. I am. Because I want to be able to just reference it as we go here. Okay, so I got Daniel's info here now. So I come back over. Most of this is basically going to be just getting the right information into the right places. So if I look, I'll even pull this up. I don't know if, nah, not going to be able to see that real well. If you flip back and forth, Daniel's department was sales. Okay, the employee, we'll just put the first initial here. And so all I'm really doing is taking that info off the back. You definitely, if you're doing bookkeeping with someplace, need to keep track of things like check numbers and stuff. If something gets lost, misplaced, given to the wrong employee, it happens, I've seen it, you can have some major problems if you're not being careful with your information. Now we actually get down to the numbers, we get to do something, okay? Now that we got the right person and everything else. Now, okay, normally, okay, your gross pay again, that's how much you have earned by your hourly, your salary, whatever it happens to be before anything gets taken out. Any deductions, any taxes, anything like that at all. The net pay is the one we're hoping is still going to be decent after we take all these deductions out of here. But we don't know that yet. We're still going to have to calculate these other bits and pieces unless they happen to be given to us. So, let's see here. Federal income tax. We see our yearly gross pay. We're going to be doing this for earnings and calculate the pay for the pay period. Okay. How often are we being paid? We're being paid weekly. So, first thing I'm going to need to do is focus in on getting, how much money am I getting weekly? Because that's how much I'm making in a year. So, let's get out 36,200. How many weeks are in a year? 52. So we're weekly looking at $696.15 gross. Okay, that's not how much is going to be on the top of my paycheck. That's how much we're going to have at the start here. So now when I start getting into all this other information, I'm just going to keep picking it off of here. Just a sec here. Okay. We're going to have to go backwards a little bit here into our packet to grab a little bit of this info. Because the one thing I thought they gave us and they're not giving us, I'm going to make sure it's not coming from another spot. Nope. Not giving it to me other way. Well, what the heck? So, federal income tax. It says here on Daniel's sheet that he is married with 2 dependents. So, little backflipping, after I write that. Married with 2 dependents. I want to keep track here of a couple of things. One of them is going to be, let me get my chart up here. Here comes the flipping. So when we're doing federal income tax, so we're back over here again. I'm on 21, if any of you are flipping back and forth with me. And so we're going to have to take this into some pieces, because his gross pay was $36,200, but we've got to subtract married, $24,400, and 2 dependents that are $1,100 each, which would be $2,200. Now watch the shock and awe happen here. Oops, 400 Hardy. You're like, wait a minute. So this guy's only being taxed on $9,600? Yes, but before you get excited about this and go, ooh, that's a good thing, we're making $696 weekly. There's a lot of things that are going to cause some trouble here if we're married with 2 dependents and we're only getting $696 weekly. So, $9,600. The good news for us on doing our math here is that married, anything up to $19,000 is just the 10%. So the only calculation we're going to have to make is 9,600 times 10%. Which is $960. We're going to leave that for now. Don't put that in up here. We've got to take care of something else first. But for now, we're going to put that in here. Sure. Okay. Now, state income tax. This is where life's going to get interesting. Because if they didn't give it to me, I'm going to steal it. I'm going to make him from a state that I'm choosing. I'm trying to think of some of the ones with flat tax rates. We're going to make him from Kentucky. Daniel Schertzer. Yeah, I could get a southern drawl with that. So, okay. We're going to go Kentucky, because I know this one off the top of my head. Where it's 4.75%. Now, here's the thing that gets tricky on a problem like this. Well, how do the dependents and things work when you're in Kentucky? It actually depends. They can change. Normally, the dependents are a lot less. We're going to roll right now that they don't do things with dependents because some states do. So in this case, with good old Daniel here, we're going to use his gross pay. We're not going to subtract this other stuff. We're just going to take the 4.75%. Might end up paying more taxes in Kentucky than he does federally. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. For sure. Now, Hardy, is that humanly possible that you can end up paying more in state than federally? Yes, I have done it 2 of the last 3 years, actually, which is kind of funny, but it's not at the same time. So, again, remember, these are for an entire year. So when we get up here, it's going to be a little different. So let's actually be a little proactive. If he's being paid weekly, we said that's 52. We're going to take that 960 for the federal taxes. We're going to divide that by 52. This literally is what the bookkeepers, with some computer help, I'm not going to say it's not, how they come up with this. So that's the number that we're going to put up here since he's being paid weekly. Okay. We're going to roll over here. We're going to do the same thing. Because I already see a boo-boo. See, this is why I'm not the accountant. I already see something I did up there. We're going to fix that in a minute. We're going to take his state tax. We're We're going to find that. Now for the rest of these, we've got the actual percentages back just a couple of pages ago. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to snag those out of here. So I'll get this back down in a moment if some of you are writing. We got to remind ourselves, Social Security is 6.2, Medicare is 1.45. So Social Security, now here, since we're going to do this on the weekly, let's just save ourselves some time. Again, we got 6.2. And for the Medicare, we take the weekly. We multiply it by the 1.45. Yeah, that's why with these packets, sometimes when I say, hey, look back at this, check back with this, it's not easy to keep all these percentages straight. I mean, it's different per state, it's different on how many deductions you have and all these other things. So, let's get those numbers down. And then we're finally starting to get near the end of all this money that's going to be coming out of our pocket here. Oops, 16, Hardy. 16. Tell you, if you do want to go into accounting or bookkeeping or something like that, you have got to have a lot of detail and a whole lot of patience. You're like, holy cow, dude. Okay, let's see here. Group health insurance. Okay. So here's the next spot we got off of the profile on the back. It was $7,350 per year, but the employer paid 70%. So Dan pays 30%. He'll pay the part that his bosses don't. So here, I can do this a couple of ways. I can do $7,350 times 30%. That would work. But then that's again for a whole year. But Dan's getting paid weekly, so this is going to be taken out weekly. More math. This one's not going to be bad. That's one of the things with these. Things go a lot between weekly, bi-weekly, annually, and all those other things. So we're finally ready to rock and roll here. So what we're going to do to get our net pay, okay, how much money is actually going to be in our paycheck this week? We're going to take our weekly gross, this $696.15, which should have been the number I put here. I bet you Daniel will be really excited if his check this week gross was $36,000. I know I'd be excited. So $696.15 is my gross pay. What I've got to do now is I've got to add up all these other deductions. So we've got, let's see here. We've got 1846 and 3307 and 4316 and 1009, holy moly, and 4240. So 147.18 in deductions. Okay, just for a quick understanding of this. Okay, so he earned almost 700. He's taking home about 550. But just to let you see, this isn't a calculation we have to do. So he ended up having taken out of his check about 21% or so of that check. So here's again what you've got to be able to think about. Do you feel, and I know my answer because I've lived it, so this guy again is married with 2 dependents, so there's 4 of them. Can you imagine trying to live on $550 a month with eating a house over your head, vehicle to get to work, food on the table, keep adding things, adding things, adding things, adding things? It adds up in a hurry. That'd be hard. It depends. It depends. Depends on how big your insurance is. Or yeah, again, if you're thinking there, yeah, car insurance for some of you, that would be more than it would be for an entire 6 months. So here's one of the things I would say, and well, do I want to stop this? Yeah, I'm going to actually stop this for a minute. What I'm going to have you do, which is going to be much easier, is over here on 35, okay, the work again, you're like, Hardy, hey, this time it's on a separate sheet. I can flip back and forth if I want to. Everything you are going to need, okay, is going to be on here except, oh no, that's even nice. Okay, so for some of you going, am I going to have to flip back and forth again? Because it's all this insurance and deductions and federal and all that. Let me get you started on Emma's. And then maybe I'll leave you for Aria, because there's several here. So if we started doing this Emma's monthly paycheck. Emma's been hired by a startup. Okay. So she'll be making $28,000 annually. Now be careful. 28,000. Oh, helps if you're on the screen already. 28,000 annually. This is a monthly paycheck. So what do I need to divide this by to turn it into monthly? 12. So we're going to take 28,000 divided by 12. Okay, so gross pay, 23, 33, 33. Okay. Deductions. All right, Emma, how much stuff you got coming out here? Her employer says health, $500 a month. Oofda. Okay. Dental, 24. Again, just stealing them right off that sheet. Vision, 24. All right. Is part of the plan, being half of the month. Oh, now see, this is where Hardy needs to learn how to read. Her employer offers health, dental, and vision insurance as part of a group plan, and, will be paying half of each monthly premium on her behalf. Well, that's nice. We're going to fix that. 250, 12, and 12. That's good stuff. Good job, startup company. Additionally, her company offers a 401k with a 3% match. Okay, let me explain something here quick. 401k is another word for a retirement plan. Okay? So when you see 401k, that's retirement. You're like, what about these other two? You're not going to have something for this in every single one. You may have a job where they don't offer a life insurance or a flexible spending account. That's what an FSA is. We'll chat about that when we get to it. But a 3% match. So Emma also puts 3% of her pay in the account. So for this, we need to do 23, 33, 33. Gosh, that's a lot of threes. Times 3%, 0.03. So 23, 33. Oh my gosh, the threes. That we're just rounding. That's 70. Okay. So I will say one thing when we get to the end here, because I think we're getting near the end of those deductions. Let's see. Okay. So that's the end of our deductions. So life would be if you're offered life insurance in case you pass away and you have a wife or you have kids, and there would be an amount of money given to them to live. An FSA is called a flexible spending account. Again, just some information here. Sometimes you will have those if you know you're going to have decent medical bills like we do in my family. They'll take a certain amount out of every one of your paychecks, and then you don't get taxed on that amount, but you can use it for medical bills, things like that. So a lot of people don't need that. Some of us that do have them, though, we're appreciative of them. And so now I can just add up my deductions, now that we got this right. So $344. At this point now, we'll take that away from our gross pay. This is exactly how these work. 1989.33. So Emma's necessary personal things she needs for deductions, we've taken out. But notice, we're still in gross pay. That's not what's going in our pocket. Here come the government organizations. So, I come back over here again. Online calculator estimates you will pay $3,300 in federal taxes each year. So the Fed, they're going to get $3,300, not all at once though. We're going to divide that by 12 as well. So the Feds want $275. The state, oh, very nice, good state. State does not have state income tax. Don't have to pay nothing there. Big fat zero. And then you pay Social Security and Medicare. Okay. So let's see here. Zero. I'm making a smiley face out of that. Social Security. Okay. What you're going to do here, and there's a couple of ways, again, you can go after it. Everybody's going to be a little bit different. So that 6.2 would be based on the 2333 number. So you'd have the 2333 times, and if you peek one more time, you're like, oh yeah, 6.2. Whenever we get to reviews and quizzes and stuff, all those numbers will be readily available for you. So 144.67. And one last time, and then we get to quit losing money to everybody and get the rest of it to spend as we need. Medicare, one more reminder, screen hardy, 1.45%. Divide it by 100 if you need to get that decimal situated. Oh, we're almost there. 3383. Now we're ready for the final countdown. Here's the government chunk that we are giving away. 453.50. And we take that away from our gross pay. So 1989.33 minus 453.50, 535 hardy. I wanted to make it 585.4, but I couldn't do it. 1535.83. So once again, I did this after the deductions. Let me do it again after the taxes now. Here's what she gets to take home. Here is the amount that she earned to begin with. About a third of what she earned, gross pay, is what's actually going to go home with her after all the deductions, all the taxes, all the things like that. So again, it's something you've got to keep in mind, and an exercise that we're going to roll through a little bit in detail tomorrow for one of your quiz questions, because we're going to do something similar to this for the quiz coming on Thursday. So your job, I'm not going to go crazy here. You're really not hurting, no. You can pick either ARIA or flip to the back and do Mason. Do one of the two. You do not have to do both. Do one of the other two math people, ARIA, or over here, 36 with Mason. Do that one, finish that up, and call it good. The review I will hand out tomorrow. It is not in the packet. I always like to do the reviews and build the quizzes based on what I see from people and how I think we're doing. So we'll get that out tomorrow. I will post it on Classroom as well, and then we'll rock through that tomorrow.